Hi guys, Chris here. I've got some batteries charging, getting ready to go out and do a maiden. So figured I'd shoot a little walk around video before I head out while the batteries are charging and get a little rundown on my build. Obviously it's as close to stock as possible. That was our goal with this. So let's talk about the build. Start with the main wing plate. I have 3.2 millimeter carbon fiber in all three locations. You can tell I've set it in a little deeper maybe than flush, more by happen chance. That was what was available. I wanted to get the build started and ordering. There was no 4 millimeter available from the places that I typically order from. So we decided, talking with you guys, that that'd be fine. It's worth testing the difference. That's the main wing plate. The KFs are Dollar Tree foam, paper removed of course, and top and bottom KF4s. On the fuselage, it's basically stock as far as assembling the fuselage. I filled it with the ultralight drywall spackle, filled all the major parts up front and some underneath. Did not do rounding back here, only smoothed off from here forward. Canopy's all filled and smoothed off as well. I carried the filling back to the leading edges of the engine nacelles. I did not fill on either sides of the engine nacelles. More excited to get built and flying than smooth. Speaking of the engine nacelles, I've reinforced the leading edges of them with some it's the super thin fiber drywall tape and foam tack in there. On the back end, let's go to the surfaces. Surfaces are same thing. They're the super thin fiberglass drywall tape with foam tack. So foam tack tape hinges all the way around on all 6 of them. Right now the neutral trim is flat, horizontal, or sorry, parallel to the main surfaces everywhere. So we'll start out with that on the maiden and trim from there. Let's see, going in the electronics bay, and this is a drywall foam tack hinge as well. Going into here, the rundown is Focal Price 2700, 6x3 E-prop. I have a Lemon RX 6-channel receiver that I'm running with my DX6 Spectrum. There's the Turnigy 40 amp plush ESC, running the usual settings. I'll note those on the spreadsheet. Doing the typical, like Scott does, I do the same on my other planes, is bringing the wires in, the servo stuff in, and then making a nice little bundle out of it and putting that into the air areas there. This Lemon RX has dual antennas for diversity. So one antenna runs over here and is oriented horizontally, and the other antennas on the bottom oriented this way. So they're at 90 degrees from each other and more than a couple inches apart. That gets good separation. Like Scott, I've got the ESC on the side wall here. I can adjust it if I want. The battery, let me grab a battery. So 1.8, I just checked CG, and I'll end up with my battery right about there. Which gets my PMI. I did a quick measurement on the PMI. I got to double check where Scott was measuring. I think it was from the tip of here, but I was like in that 10.5 inch range for the PMI length there. Controls are all the 2 millimeter carbon fiber with that snap link and adjuster, just like Scott talks about. That's the first time I did that. Loved doing it. Of course, I did a silly thing. I measured how long I needed and cut the carbon fiber, glued it in, and then went to install them last night and realized I didn't account for that, which is good that they were too long. I had to cut a little. I had to cut 3/4 of an inch off of them, but better too long than too short. Let's see. I really liked your guide, Scott, for the KF cutting to set that line back. So I did that. Mark the center of the Depron. So my entire plane's a Depron except for the Dollar Tree. I did that center line here. Did your mark back on both. Did a careful cut using one of these guys. That worked out real nice. As long as you prepare your cut, do a nice cut, and then sand from there. That worked out really well. Really like that. Down through the engine nacelles, let's see if I can get it where you can see it well here. I dress out my leads and tape them up so I minimize any drag of air through there feeding into the prop. As far as servo placements, I did angle the aileron servo a little bit as well as the elevator servo. I had to notch out a little more for the aileron servo there. The KF cutout for me, I notched out a little farther. Also, I went with the control horn where the plans have it. I know Scott's moved it out on his. I'm good with where it is. I don't mind having the servo out slightly, so I'm good with that. I'm using all 6 channels so that I can get individual adjustability of the aileron and aileron servos. The trade-off is, though, I have a Y cable for the rudders servos, and so I had to make sure I picked 2 servos that, in this case, were offset a little bit. You know how sometimes they're not centered up, but I figure on the rudders I'm not too worried about it. And I had 7 of these servos, so if I had more, I may have gone through and matched up and found some better ones. So. That's a quick walk around, and like I said, I'm gonna plan on when these batteries are done, head over to a friend's place. They have a big farm. The field's inaccessible, our club field, so head over there and I'll shoot some video of this maiden and see how it goes. See you later, guys. Bye.